Veterans Voice is a show that connects veterans and active members of the military to qualified guests who help you find programs and benefits you qualify for and discuss housing, education, career training, and other topical matters. Every show addresses issues that affect your life. Each week, Veterans Voice will begin with a story from one of our veterans about his or her experiences in the military. We want to thank these veterans for sharing these stories with us. Call in and share your experience. 781-837-4900. And now, a voice from one of our veterans.
Oh, hey, I'm so glad that you could join us for this special edition of Veterans Voice Network. One for the money, two for the show. Hey, thank you for joining us today for this career development session brought to you by the Employment and Training Resources at Norwood One Stop Career Center. I'm a career development instructor. I also am a veterans employment rep, and I help veterans and their families get career fulfilling positions. But I know a lot of you, well, first of all, could I have a show of hands? Who here is on a rediscovery grant from the government? No hands? I'm sorry, excuse me, yes. Who here is collecting unemployment? Okay, good. So all of your hands are up. I appreciate that. Well, think about this. It is a rediscovery grant from the government. You got an opportunity to find out what kind of gaps you have in your skills. Maybe you need some computer classes or whatever. But before you start considering that, you have to think of this. You're going through the five stages of grief, okay? Remember the first one when you're letting me go, amigo? Remember that shock and awe phase? But Psychic Hotline, I know that there's somebody out there recently, don't raise your hand, that has been on a riverboat cruise in Egypt. Isn't that correct? Yes. Some of you have been on denial, right? So, I mean, that's my favorite stage right there. And then the other favorite one is anger. I love that, but here's the problem. You suffered a loss. You lost your position, and you're going through these 5 stages of grief. So you have to really come to grips with this and realize that if you weren't here, you'd be somewhere going through those 5 stages of grief. So it's just something that you have to know, because as you get it together, you have to realize, as a matter of fact, we had a big meeting, I think it was right here in this room, where they were asking, do we need better workshops? Do we need more grant money? What kind of things do the job seekers need to really get back into the workforce? And I said, I can tell you in just one word, what every job seeker needs when they come through those doors. They need hope. I remember this really happened. They were giving the Teacher of the Year award to this young man. And they said to him, before we give you this, present you with this Teacher of the Year award, we just have to know one thing. How did you get such great results with these kids? And he sat and he stepped back a little bit and he thought about it. He goes, it's like this. I think kids want to know how much you care before they care to know how much you know. So basically what I'm saying is anybody that's in the One Stop Career Center has to be able to look you right in the eye and say, I've sat where you sat. They have to care. If they don't care, what are they doing? What are they doing there? Because, it's pretty obvious. Kids can see right through you. Most people can see right through you. If you don't care, if you're just reading off the slides that you see kind of thing and just regurgitating information, you'll hear this clicking sound as people shut you off because You don't care. What do you care? In 15 seconds, everyone will be lost, and you'll never gain them back. And they'll never come back to get some help, and they really need it. Because I know I did when I was in their position. I needed somebody to come alongside and comfort me and say, hey, it's okay. You can get a position. Oh, by the way, and I hope nobody's listening to this, but I tell people, I'm not here to get you a job. Because I think a lot of you know what JOB stands for, don't you? Yep. I see some of you nodding in the front row. You know that it stands for just over broke. Y'all could get a job tomorrow, right? Would you like fries with that? Okay. And I used to joke about that. My buddy, he tugs me on the sleeve, and he knew the owner of a large franchise of McDonald's on the Turnpike and in the area, and he said something that I'll never forget. He goes, do you know what the average store manager makes at McDonald's? I said, well, I don't know. And I asked some of the people, and they said, it's different figures and whatnot. And he said, the least that they make is $80,000 a year. I went, whoa, $80,000 a year? Now, we're not talking about the fry later manager, okay? We're talking about somebody that's the store manager. Now, you say, well, why would they get at least $80,000 to start? Think about this. What's the average cost of establishing a McDonald's franchise in the greater Boston area, for example? Almost $1 million, if not over $1 million. You're going to have somebody with an MBA with 20 years experience in food and beverage to run your show. Why? Because you just want to come back and check the Big Macs and start another store. So this is what I'm trying to get to. You have to prepare yourself to actually sit there and think about it. Wouldn't you really like to take your occupation and your passion and sandwich them together and ask yourself this question: what is your occupation? No one's ever asked you that before, have they? What is your occupation? And it's really simple. I don't want you to get a job. I want you to obtain a career-fulfilling position. And here's the acid test to know if you have currently a career-fulfilling position. Thursday or Friday, does it dawn on you all of a sudden? Oh my God, they pay me to do this. That's how you know you got a career-fulfilling position, right? Because here are my occupations. I love to teach, coach, counsel, mentor, and motivate people to get that career-fulfilling position. I get to do that every day. I get to do a little teaching, counseling, brainstorming, possibility thinking with all of my clients. And the best thing that happens to me is I'm a veterans employment rep, is that, I'll tell you a true story. I had a veteran call me the day before we had a Hire Our Heroes job fair at Fenway Park. And he said to me, he goes, I'm an IT guru, but I can't get a full-time position. I get a contract here and a contract there. I said, okay, this is the day before the event. I gave him a couple tips. I said, dress for success, bring your wife, I'll meet you down there. So he comes to Fenway, and he was dressed up, actually had a 5-page resume. So do you think I was going to wait till he had a perfect resume before I would help him? Of course not. I said, take the resume. I brought him, introduced him to 3 different employers. The last employer, I put him at the end of the line. It was General Dynamics. I said, just go in there and give him your resume, but start just telling him what you can do, okay? He did that. They called him. Over less than a week, within 5 days, he had an offer for $95,000 with full benefits. Here's the rest of the story. He and his wife were facing eviction at the end of the month. If that isn't a career-fulfilling story, nothing is. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of people, when we go into an interview, we think it's almost like career jeopardy. We think if we get all the answers right, we're going to win the prize, the car, and the trip to Hawaii. We think people hire you because you answer all the questions correctly in a face-to-face interview. Now let me ask you, and I asked one of my students in another venue, I said, why do people hire you? And this girl, I'll never forget it, this girl stood up and she goes, Mr. DuQuette, it's because you're the most qualified and knowledgeable person so that they hire you for that. And I said, wrong. And I did a little bit of a Joe Pesci on him. I said, okay. You're all on the board of directors. And could we read back the new hiring policy for entry-level jobs? Okay, going forward, we're going to hire only the orneriest. Henri the woodchopper, eh? Most cantankerous, hardest to get along with people. Okay, but they're very, 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 very qualified. And all the students in one voice said, well, that's stupid. I said, exactly right. Because if they hire Henri the woodchopper, guess what's going to happen? Okay, besides people wanting to throw Henri out the third floor window after back-to-back overnight shifts, after 2 years, nobody can get along with Henri, so they're going to promote him. He's going to be your boss in 2 years. How's that sound for career fulfilling? So that's why they hire you, and it's really simple. People hire you because they like you. Simple as that. I could see working with this person. He has a good sense of humor. I know, by the way, he's very, very, very qualified. But it's not jeopardy, career jeopardy, when you're in a face-to-face interview. I'll give you something else that a lot of people don't understand. What is the most effective means of communication in a face-to-face interview? Okay, a lot of people have different ideas. What am I doing right now? I'm doing nonverbal communications. And by the way, nonverbal communications all over the world, you can order 4 beers. I'll demonstrate it. Okay? Ein Bier bitte. 4 beers, universal, and they're going to bring them over. Okay? So it's, what am I talking about? I'm talking about nonverbal body language and nonverbal communication. Did you know, would you believe that almost 97%, or no, well, let's see what, yeah, about 97% of effective communications is through body language and nonverbal communication. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And would you think about this? Let me ask you a question. What percent are the words we speak in an interview? 7%. Only 7% of effective communications are the words that we actually speak in an interview. So, let me ask you, how many people smile in an interview? Not too many. That's when they talk about corporate fit, that's exactly what they're talking about. So, these are the career development kind of workshops that we have. So, let's say you want to be able to do a self-marketing pitch. You want to have your 30-second pitch or basically elevator speech ready, right? Well, why would you want to have that? Well, because you could be on an elevator, you could be on the red line, and you want to be able to tell people, hey, my name is Charlie DuQuette. I'm in an opportunity to accept new and challenging responsibilities in the training field. Do you know of any? And you could give them your contact card. You could always carry that 3x5 card and get their information. Why? Well, because you might want to have an informational interview. And what's the best thing about an informational interview? Rule number 1, you never ask them for a job, so that 800-pound gorilla's off their back. Rule number 2, you are asking questions. I'm not kidding. Some of the scariest reactions I had from my students doing mock interviews was when I'd ask them this bone-chilling question. So, tell me about yourself. People would be petrified. They wouldn't know how to answer that. Or they would say, I like long walks on the beach. I like pina coladas. Oh, by the way, I never got that song. Do you love making, or do you like making love in the dunes in the Cape? Do you like Lyme disease? Do you like ticks? I mean, come on, that's insane. You know, who the heck would do that from Massachusetts anyway? But it sounds great, you know what I mean? But think about that. You want to be prepared to be able to tell people and network with people. Informational interviews are great for that. And you find information. Before you leave, you say, Bob, besides you, who else is so knowledgeable about training and education? Oh, your brother-in-law, Phil? Could you send him an email that I'll be contacting him? And I'd love to get 20 minutes with him to find out that information. So that's how you uncover intelligence. That's how you uncover the unpublished job market. Now, I'm just touching the hem of the garment. We have almost 30-something workshops like this. About a good third of them are in computer classes. So let's say you want to upgrade your skills to Microsoft Office Suite, blah, 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 2013. Well, come on down. Now, what you know what you have to pay for these workshops? You have to pay attention. So listen up. All you got to do is come, and we have these great workshops in practice labs, which are almost tutoring sessions, and at the end of the day, you can put that on the end of your resume, employment and training resources. No one's going to question that, and it's free. You just got to pay attention. And the reason I'm bringing this up is there's a one-stop career center in 32 different locations throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's over 3,000 in the United States. Every one of them has a veterans employment rep like myself there to help you. And also, everybody else that's a citizen of the Commonwealth, they don't have to be unemployed. They can be overemployed. They can just use it as a resource. You don't have to be unemployed to use the Career Center. So use our copiers, our cartridges, our paper, our air conditioning, our computers, our internet, our faxes, our phones, and most importantly, use our experienced career advisors to help you navigate so you can get that career fulfilling position. So what does it take? It just takes you to take that first step. So just find the nearest career center to you. You're going to find one-stop, Massachusetts one-stop career centers, and you're going to find the address, phone number, and all the contact information. We are etrcc.com. Just go ETR, Echo Tango Tango Romeo, resources.com, and you can find all our workshops, our contact. We have an office in Framingham, one in Norwood, but not just us, all South Shore, North Shore, Central. We have them all over the state, and people are there to help you navigate through this system and help you with resume development. Or our best, one of my favorite workshops is Avoiding the Black Hole. Now, where did we get that title? We got that title from you. Our job seekers said, I don't know what happened. I applied online, but poof, I didn't hear nothing back. It was like my resume went to a black hole. But I guarantee you, if you're just doing, one of my family members said, I don't know what's going on. It was a CAD designer, and I said, what did you do? He goes, I put my resume on monsterjob.com. I said, the phone's not ringing? They're not knocking at your door? You just get, most of these applicant tracking systems they have in the title class, Avoiding the Black Hole, are geared for one thing, to eliminate you. I mean, it's almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger from California. The Seracana work here, I'll be back. They are just designed with the matrix reloaded. You could be in the wrong zip code. Our research has shown that your zip code is 27.5 miles away from the employment site. So therefore, our research has indicated that you will not be retained after 6.5 months. So therefore, you're not a good candidate. A human never gets to see it. So networking is still the #1 way to get a career fulfilling position, because it's not what you know. It's, I heard it, who you know. But let me add one thing, and who knows you on LinkedIn. And oh, by the way, okay, all that digital dirt out there for you younger millennials, you know when you had that rubber moosey mask with the flaming Q-tips and you were dancing on the bar and your friend thought it was the funniest thing and he put it on your social media account? 60-something% of employers vet you before they hire you. So you better tell your friends stop that, because once it's out there, it's out there. I'll give you an example. I had a sergeant of mine that was working for me. By the way, 25 years in the Marine Corps hasn't affected me one bit, sir. Master Sergeant, United States Marines. And he was doing Border Patrol. So the agent came right to my work and flashed his badge, and he says, I'm here to vet Sergeant blah, blah, blah. I said, sure, I'll help you. And a great guy. First question out of his mouth, does the Sergeant blah, blah, blah have a drinking problem? Well, you know, the guy's from the government, so I had to be very very candid. I said, no, he doesn't have a drinking problem. It goes right down. No, I didn't say that. But I said, well, why do you ask? I said, you see his Facebook page? I said, yeah, he's got some pictures when he was a soccer coach and this, that. He goes, yeah, every one of the pictures. It was like a green screen behind him. Here's Sergeant blah, blah, blah. Cerveza at the soccer championship game. Here he is at the wedding. Here he is with his buddies. Here he is at the bus stop. Every shot had him when it was like a freeze frame of the same thing. So these kind of things they do look at, okay? But what you want to do is have all the tools in your career workshop, your career toolkit. Now, some of them you only use once in a while, but you can't have a screwdriver and a hammer and expect to build a house, okay? And by the way, you don't get $1 million answer with a 39-cent prayer. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. So this is what we want to do. We want you to do some possibility thinking. Oh, by the way, and this is true. I've been doing this for about 25 years. And I always do the same thing. Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, 25 years. Okay, Now, there's three groups of people in the world. Remember Zig Ziglar? He always used to talk like a country western preacher, and he'd say, you know, basically there's three groups of people in the world. There's people that watch things happen, there's people that make things happen, and there's people that go, what happened? Okay? So what group do you want to be in, okay? So this is what we're talking about. So I confront people, and I say, and I've done this with everybody, adults, children, teenagers, officer, enlisted, in all kinds of different capacities, the same thing. Okay, Master, I'm going to guarantee you 105% success. Knowledge, skills, ability, education. Money is no object. I'm going to make it happen. I got my phone right here. I'm going to make the call. You got 10 seconds. Tell me what you want to do with the rest of your life. And there's a pause. And you know what they say to me? Besides being, I'm in their face. I said, 5 seconds. 90% of the people, and I'm not kidding, 90% of the people go, I don't know. I said, I don't even know how to spell that. I don't know. How do we do a job search? I don't know. So it's true. 90% of the people don't have a clue. Or they'll say something really good. I want to stop world hunger. I want to help people. Okay, not so specific. Only, I'd say about 1% actually immediately come out with a coherent thought of what they want to do. So you got to start there. Okay, and I had another gentleman. I said, "What have you been doing?" He goes, "I'm an accountant. A forensic accountant." I said, "How long have you been doing that?" 17 and a half years. I said, "Well, how's that going?" He goes, "I can't stand it." So why are you going to be? Because that's what I do. And you know what a lot of people do on their resume? I'll give you an example. Okay, this is a true story. I worked for Boston Financial. Let me tell you something. I was in a 30-member phone group. You know what I did? You're not going to believe this. I answered phones. Thank you for calling. You're on the line with Charlie DuQuette. Oh, you know what else I did? I provided customer service. Oh, wait a minute. There's more. I took elevated calls and resolved their conflict. Wait a minute. Everybody out there listening and watching me right now, you know what they did when I said I worked in a and I worked in a phone group? Just like, Droid, you filled in every one of my job titles. You knew exactly what I did within the first 3.5 seconds of what I told you, right? That's what people do. Please, if you get anything from this, don't put your duties on your summary of qualifications or an objective. Put what you love to do, quantify and qualify it. That's your headline. You want the person reading that saying, which they scan it in 7.5 seconds at the most, I want to read more. By the way, you want a human to read it. So you have to understand applicant tracking systems. Now, this is a short segment that we're doing here. So I can't give you all the things, but what I'd like you to do is I would like you to find the nearest one-stop career center near you. And if you're a vet or a family member of a vet, contact those people. Go there and give us a try. Now, I'm biased. I think Metro Southwest with 43 towns and cities, our Framingham office and our Norwood office are some of the best. We have some of the best instructors and trainers and career advisors and programs that you got. So just look it up. We're going to give you some more information at the end of it in the credits, but just look it up and give us a shot. I guarantee you'll never regret it, because remember, you don't want a job, you want a career-fulfilling position. Because if I got you a job, you'd be back in 90 days watching this all over again. Don't hit rewind. Don't live in the past. You can't do the future by living in the past. You got to find out where you've been, where you are, and where do you want to go with your career, and also with that rediscovery grant that the government has given you time, if you're so selected, to get that unemployment benefit. This is Charlie DuQuette. I'm the Veterans Employment Advisor at the Norwood Career Center, and I want you to take it seriously, but have fun. It's a great adventure, and set your sights high, and have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.